Hello dudes and dudeens, welcome back to DomiNations. We are back in our base build tutorial, whatever program, and because we talked about very many resource protection bases, I got some questions down in the comment section. Oh wow, some questions down in the comment section why or whether I could present or upload also the Worldwar or metal protecting base layouts. So we started with chasing the amount of resource protecting base layouts by the amount of battle protecting Worldwar base layouts, and now we are just finished with the Gunpowder base layout series, and we are going to the Enlightenment age series or stage. And I prepared a graphic for you again, like always before, but because it's a Worldwar base layout and it's not active during the ordinary game, we have no defensive logs. But let us go to the base layout. Here we are. For all guys of you, or even female guys, I don't know the name, female guys, for all of you who have seen my former videos about the Gunpowder Age, they have probably recognized that this base layout is pretty much the same, only in a little advanced layout of the old Gunpowder Age base layout. So we have some more details, some more buildings, and so because of this, some more structure right in it. But we will go right through it again, like in all videos before. And starting with the aim of the base. Aim of the base is completely clear. We are talking about base layouts from the Worldwar or protection of metals. So only the town center is carrying. Resource buildings are just not just not the aim to getting protect. So our first the first question we want to ask ourselves in this case. Whether the town center is protected. We have placed the town center right in the center of all available space. You see here some pretty much many forests I have been getting rid of, clearing the debris. I think it's called, or exploration. Yes, explorated. A very huge amount of exploration. So very many forests are away now, and so this base layout has very much space again. This is a base layout of a complete advanced Enlightenment age player. All buildings are maxed out, all available buildings are built, and even some very high progresses and researches in the library are done. So probably you don't have researched the extra 5 wall limit you can get in the library in the 5th chapter of walls. If you don't have this chapter of walls, you can just use this base layout without these towers, these both towers, right inside the walls. If you take them out and just close your walls a little bit closer over here, you can save these 5 amount of walls which are used in this base layout and which you probably don't have because of your lower stage of research. But now, going on to the next point, the walls or the different lines of defense. We have one clear first line of defense, our first inner wall, the inner part of the wall section, which is just going right around the town center and also protecting our most important defensive buildings like the 3 mortars and our 2 cannon towers. And then we have the second stage of walls right outside, so that from every side you are attacking there is more than 5 distance to the town center, and you just are not able to shoot at the town center without breaking some walls. Another point I want to mention is whether there is an influence on the enemy, and there is some influence. With this base layout you want to anticipate, or you want to make the enemy some cases or some ways of attacking very attractive and otherwise not. We have placed the town center right in the center, but not completely in the center. Being placed completely in the center would mean just to place it 2 pieces right over here, more over here. It's now a little bit stretched into the left position because we want to make the enemy attack from this left side. Over here we have a little bit more space from the right side and all of our defensive spawning buildings right inside the way, so that enemies are not wanting or not thinking it's attractive to attack from this side over here or from both sides. Therefore we have some double walls over here and also very many defensive buildings. So it shall be the most attractive way for the enemy to attack from the front, because here's the littlest amount of space to get to the base, and also here's only one wall layer to get to the town center, and that should be really attractive for the enemy. Probably if you take these both buildings right outside the wall, I will check it out. When you take this both buildings, these towers right outside of the wall, and close this wall a little bit closer, and you take these 4 more pieces of wall to take this wall layer just one position right in front to get more space to this mortar, it's probably even more useful, but I have to check it out. I'm not quite sure to prove it here at this point. Now let's talk about, yes, we have talked about the influence on the enemy, the defensive buildings. We are again starting with our mortars. The mortars are the buildings in this game which have the most advanced range. They have a range of 9 to fire. That's the hugest range of all shooting buildings, shooting defensive buildings you have in the game. Therefore, it's very essential to place your mortars or to choose the location right inside in the center of your base to make use of the very huge range of the mortars. And like you can see, the mortars are closing down the complete base. There's just no spot in or close to the base which is not covered by the mortars. All 3 mortars are able to shoot right around the base, and there is no hidden space. Also, you can see the fire ranges of all 3 mortars are just covering each other, so the right mortar is able to protect the left and the center one. Center one is able to protect the left and the right one, and the left one, like you can probably know or anticipate, is able to protect the center and the right mortar. That's very, very essential, because all mortars can protect themselves, and also, they are placed very, very close together, but they are not that much close together that you would be able to close down or to disable 2 mortars with only 1 sabotage. Here is definitely enough space, and that was the aim of the base, to avoid that the enemy can use 1 sabotage for 2 mortars. So if you want to disable them, you have to use 1 sabotage for each of the mortars. That's very effective and very stressful for the enemy. Next point is compensating of weaknesses. The weakness of the mortar is very clear. The mortar has a very, very high range, but also very low damage. It is dealing AoE damage, so area of damage, and when the bullet is just hitting the ground, there is a little area in which all troops which are within this area are getting some damage, but the damage is pretty much low, so it's only effective against a mass of troops like enemy infantry or enemy marksmen, but it's definitely not very useful against enemy tanks or cavalry. And because of this weakness, it's very important to have our cannon towers right inside the range and working together with our mortars. And like you can see, our cannon towers are placed at the left and at the right side. Yes, we have 3 cannon towers over here, but there is no useful place where we could place it. I did not find any useful place. If you have any other opinions, just tell me in the comment section. But I'm just using this 3rd cannon tower right outside with pretty much no use. It's just staying over here because there is no other function. But our 2 main cannon towers are just right inside the base. The right one is carrying for the right mortar and cooperating. The left one is cooperating with the left mortar, and both together are protecting the front mortar. That's the main aim behind this. Now we are coming to air defense. There is no air defense. We are still in Enlightenment age. Redoubt positions. The redoubts are positioned, or their position is at the left and at the right corner of the base. Here you have some corners, and the first stage, why to place your redoubts right over here, or the aim behind it, I will tell it later to you when we come to the World Wonders and to the Acropolis and all defender producing buildings, because the position of our gates and of our defender producing buildings is just working together with the location of our redoubts. So we are skipping this point first. Bunker position, we are not in industrial age, so no bunkers. The use of traps. We have all of our traps, I think all of our traps, I'm not quite sure. Yes, we have all of our traps located right in front of. All spike traps, all ambush traps, and also all caltrops. The caltrops, by the way, are our most effective traps over here, because we have only one wall layer. Over here it's very important to save this wall layer, because it's that much weak and the enemy is able to break through it very, very fast. Caltrop traps in the game have only a very little range of effectiveness, but within this range they are just slowing down the enemy by 40%, I think, and they are also decreasing the enemy damage by 30%. So if you are multiplying this, taking a number of 100% ordinary damage of an enemy troop, multiplying this with only 60%, so with 0.6, you get at least 60% only of the ordinary damage, and now again multiplying it with 0.4, you get at least 0.24 damage of the ordinary damage. That means 24%. So all enemies which are just staying right here inside or in the range of the caltrops are only dealing for the whole time in the caltrops 24%, so nearly only 1/4 of their ordinary damage while they are inside the range. That's why we have all of our caltrops right over here, because they are covering a very huge space, because they are located so close to another. Come on. Here's a very huge space which is completely covered by this caltrops, and it's right before our one wall layer, which shall seem to be attractive for the enemy, but all enemy troops which are staying there are just only dealing 24%, so 1/4 of the ordinary damage. And so this wall, when it gets attacked, has 4 times as much as health points as it would have if there would be no caltrop traps. That's the main function behind it. We have also some spike traps right over here. It's exactly the same like in our Gunpowder Age base layout, because enemy cavalry and enemy tanks are just rushing in front of the ordinary troops because of their lower range, and so it's our aim to get them right into these traps to weaken them, or to hurt them, so that they are getting killed. You have also some ambush traps right over here. You can locate them or place them at some other places. We have placed them over here because we anticipate that the enemy will mostly attack from the front. But there are, I think, also some other places in which they make some sense. Now we are coming to the World Wonder use. The World Wonders we are using are again the most strong World Wonders you can use for the defensive and for the offensive purpose or sense. Yes, there's also the Angkor Wat, which is able to be very, very strong, but we have decided for the Versailles, so the Angkor Wat would be an option, but definitely not in this base layout, because in this base layout the Versailles is very, very essential. We have the Versailles over here. Again, a little reminder or a little point at the beginning. Versailles and Acropolis both are buildings or world wonders which effects are just staying active, whether they are, no matter whether they are destroyed or whether they are still intact. So when the enemy is destroying one of this or both world wonders, their complete effect we are talking about later in case of the Acropolis, for example, is still staying active. So no matter whether they got destroyed, the complete effect stays active, and the effect of the Versailles is like our caltrops, but with a very, very much huger range, the slowing down of the enemy troops. So when the enemy is attacking from the front, because the enemy says, okay, the distance over here to the walls is very, very much closer than from the backside, and also here's only one wall layer and not so heavy defensive buildings like when I would come from the left or even from the right side. Therefore the enemy is attacking from the front, and then during the whole time within the range of the Acropolis, the Versailles, the troops are getting slowed down, and Within this time, our defensive buildings have some very, very important seconds won to shoot, sometimes more, as if there would be no Versailles building, because the Versailles is just cooperating with the caltrop traps right in front. Um, I think I can take one video for you, one defensive log for you, and put this recorded video in the end, so I can show you that the Versailles is still working and the effect is still staying even when it got destroyed. I will search for the defensive log and show it in the end to you. Now let us talk about the Colosseum. Again, the Colosseum has the biggest range of all buildings in the game, so it's just covering the whole base over here, and it's not very important where to place it. But in this case, it's very important to place it within the range of the Acropolis, because then the defenders are getting spitted out very, very much faster. Like you can see, we have all available defender spawning buildings within the range of the Acropolis. So we have a complete 100% effectiveness. You can't place it even more effective. We have the command post, we have the Colosseum, all 3 stables, and also all 5 garrisons within. So the defenders, which are, or the defender producing buildings, which are within the range of the Acropolis, spit out or produce the defenders 20% faster, and also with 15% more health. So for especially the cavalry, which gets spitted out by the stables, has much more health points, because 15% of their ordinary health points of 6,000 is very much. And so we have a huge bonus on all of our troops which are within the range. And again, I reminded to you, it's no matter whether this Acropolis is destroyed or not. All buildings which are staying still alive or intact are spitting out the troops more faster, and even more stronger troops during the whole game, whether when they are still active and got not destroyed. So we have a whole covering of the backside of the base by our huge amount of defenders. And now we can talk about the redoubt position, because we have placed our gates this way that our defenders will mostly go right around this base when they are coming from both sides, or they will take this one gate over here to get through the middle of the base. And when they are getting through the middle and aiming for the enemy troops, which are probably coming from over here, or from over here, they will use these gates over here. And when they will just run around this redoubt, especially enemy distance troops or enemy marksmen are just often, very, very often aiming for your own defenders and your own cavalry, and so they are often running into the range of the redoubt. And when the redoubt gets activated, it smashes down a very huge amount and very, very fast enemy troops like marksmen, because it's so strong. It has also a range effect on all troops which are just inside the range. And also when the troops are just running from the outside of the base, very, very often the enemy infantry, not the enemy infantry, the enemy marksmen are getting attracted by our defenders, which are running around the redoubts and running inside the redoubts. That's why we placed our redoubts right over there. Okay, we are finished with our world wonders. The gates. Why we have placed the gates right in this location like we have did it. Especially in the Enlightenment age, you are able to build the factory. I think the factory right over here, and within the factory, when you build it and when you upgrade it, you will be able to produce the saboteur. And the saboteur is really strong because it's a sneaky unit. It can just pass your gates just without destroying the walls. It can just pass your gates as it would be one of your troops. So, and also it is just not activating any shooting buildings. So all redoubts, cannon towers, mortars, and even the castle are just not shooting at these saboteurs, but only the defensive producing buildings are getting active and produce your defensive troops. So we have only one gate over here at the back, because when an enemy is just sitting, placing his saboteur right over here, and wants to get inside the base to destroy some essential defensive buildings, there's a very huge way over here, right around the Acropolis, right inside, and then probably for the castle or even some mortars. And because of our Acropolis, all of our troops are getting produced much faster, and also because of the very slow moving of the saboteur, Here nearly all of these defensive buildings will spawn some defenders, and so there is a first initial wave of defenders just inside, and I'm pretty much sure that at least these Blackwatch over here, if you have another nation, not the British, there are some other strong troops coming out. At least these troops will be able to kill the saboteur before before this saboteur can release or any damage in your base. So it's very, very effective. And even if the enemy saboteur is just passing this gate. Let's take this as example and say, okay, he made it through this gate. He will get that much close to the town center that it will activate your town center. And every strong players, especially in the World War, have donated some mighty troops. And with mighty troops, I mean some artillery, cannons, bombards, or even howitzers. And when these troops are getting released from the town center, they will nearly instantly kill this saboteur before it can release any damage to your important buildings, your essential buildings in the center. And when this has happened, the saboteur is dead. The saboteur could deal no or only very, very little damage to your base, and there is one complete initial wave of your defenders, just even probably the town center defenders, which have spawned and now on the base. And that's very strong, because when the enemy is now attacking, no matter from where, there's just one initial wave which is just focusing and running towards the enemy troops. When the enemy is attacking from the front or even from the sides with some saboteurs, it's nearly the same. Some of these buildings will now start producing defenders, not all, but when the enemy saboteur is just passing this first gate, or he will also activate the town center, releasing some bombards which will instantly kill the saboteur. And then we have also not the complete wave of initial defenders, but some defenders right over here or from the right side. So therefore we have no spike traps in front of this gate. Only in the complete front we have some spike traps, because that's of the other reason I told you before, because we want to make the enemy attack from over here. So you don't have to care for some saboteurs with this base layout, because it's pretty much thought that there could be some saboteurs, but we have some but we have something planned to get rid of the saboteurs. Wow, that was hard to explain. Guys, I hope this base layout is quite entertaining for you, and you can probably take some use out of it. You can even use it if you want to. Now I will search for the defensive log to show you the effect of the Versailles, which is still working when it's destroyed. Here is the defensive log I meant, and here you can see the Versailles is still active, and the Versailles now gets destroyed, but look at the enemy troops, they are still completely slowed down when they move through the old position of the Versailles. Now it's destroyed, and now I think the enemy will retreat his troops. Oh, won't he? Oh, he has already. Now he has retreated his troops, and now you can see they are moving very, very slowly over here. So you see the Versailles is still active, no matter whether it was destroyed or whether not. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I'm always telling, just choose a wise location for the Versailles, because the effect always stays active. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumb up, keep on liking, keep on sharing the content. We'll see us soon, Domination Tips.